All right. Morning, folks. It is Saturday, July 15th, my birthday. I'm out here before 7 a.m. because it's freaking hot during the day to work on this truck. And yes, it's taking me this long to do this swap. Why? Well, I work a full-time job and got 10,000 things going on, so it is what it is. So we're going to try to get her knocked out. It ain't going to be today, but we're going to get a lot further than we are. I've had, my dump truck way up there. I had to do brakes on it and had a family reunion go on. Anyway, all kinds of excuses. So I'm going to give a little update on this. I haven't really done a whole lot of videoing on this thing. So I had ordered a harness off of Jungle Site and had it installed when I set the engine in here, but it's too short. It's supposed to be one that goes through the firewall, but it's not going to on this truck because this truck's got the HVAC box back there and all that and whatnot. I was thinking it might be long enough to come around and actually go through the hole. There's actually a hole right there that is for the harness. So anyway, so I went back to the old one. Not a big deal. There's actually some pluses to it. The old harness has AC wiring set up in it because I am running AC on this truck, as you can see. Again, another Jungle Site purchase. I purchased this R4 compressor mount. Seems like a pretty nice setup. Hopefully don't squeak. All that. New compressor because the old one was junk. So yeah, like I said, I had that other harness on there and it was all hooked up. Went to set her in the truck and then I get figured out it's just not enough length for the harness. So as far as everything else, engine mounts, I use these plates. I've used these things. You see that plate? It's just a plate with the multiple position holes in it. Man, I've tried a couple different engine mount setups on different vehicles, but for most of the vehicles that use a clamshell mount, and even the 70s, 68, 72 Chevy trucks. I also think the early 60s trucks as well. The ones that use those, those ones that, of course, they all bolt on the side of the engine. Anyway, you know the style. But anyone that uses those clamshell mounts or, those standard GM mounts, man, those plates you can't beat that stuff. Of course, most of these engines go in 1-inch setback from when the small block Chevy mount was on. So anyway, like I said, I prefer those plates. I've used those on everything, and like I said, I've tried different mounts. Like the last square body that I did a swap on, I tried the Tejas Steelworks mounts out of Texas. Great product, but it just I didn't like the way it did. It set the engine so far forward that you'd had to change or lengthen the drive shaft. You'd have had, because I like to use the stock intake tubing. I like to use that stuff if possible. And on square bodies, it works out real well if you use these plates. So anyway, I like to use as much stock stuff as possible because we did buy a donor vehicle for this. So, hey, why not use this stuff? I don't know that I'll be able to use it on this one because we have battery box on this side. Last time, let's see, I did square body. I did that square body. I actually bought a battery tray for this other side, which I may have a battery tray in my dually out there. Pretty sure I do. So anyway, it's been a while since I've done a video because I've been extremely busy with just life and week at the lake and work and everything else. So, but hey, this bracket says chap. You can buy it off of the jungle site. Man, that thing was like 120 bucks, 130 bucks, something like that. So really not that bad. You got to buy the tensioner separate, so that adds what, 20 or 30 bucks to it. No big deal. It seems like pretty quality product. I have made brackets for them. I have used the LS bracket or the Chevrolet brackets and modified those. That did work. It was just a lot of work to modify and fabricate and fabricable and all that stuff. So for $130, that's not really that bad. I went up to the old pick and pull in Springfield the other day and got a longer throttle cable, actually out of one of the LS trucks. Those work pretty good in these. What else have I got? I've got the, of course, transmission transfer case all went in with the engine. That was kind of a tight fit. The small block Chevy will come out with trans and transfer case on it. I just lifted her all up out of there with the crane. Picked her all up out of there, no big deal. Let's set this one in. Of course, doing it by yourself is not the smartest plan, but I did get it done. But it barely cleared. I mean, it was pretty tight fit getting it in there. I had to really jack up on the back end and go up against the floorboard pretty tight to get the oil pan to finally clear the diff. Two-wheel drive probably wouldn't have been a problem, but being this was four-wheel drive, that was an issue. But anyway, I got it. Wasn't no big deal. Transmission transfer case back in, rear drive shaft back in. Transfer case shifters hooked up. As soon as it dries out a little more, I'm gonna probably crawl under it and start getting trans shifter hooked up. I've got to put the front drive shaft in, but I'm waiting because I've got to do harness hookup and all that stuff, putting this new harness in, or this old harness, original harness. Fuel lines, that was pretty simple. Right above basically above the shifter stub on the transmission, I used the factory truck lines, compression fitting to the LS lines. I just kind of found a spot in there that I was happy with, and then of course zip tied the original factory truck lines up to the floorboard. There's a piece of metal under there by the shifter hole, by the transfer case shifter hole. I was able to zip tie those up, that way they'll stay off the front drive shaft. So no big deal there, pretty easy. So yeah, it's coming along. Not as fast as I would like, but hey, when you're old and you work full-time job, family stuff, sometimes things take a little longer. So Anyway, figured I'd give everybody an update. I know people are asking about the square body, and I've even had people asking about other projects that I've done or started. But square body's still in the garage back there. I will get on it. I've got one more piece of my equipment I need to work on. I've got to get my lowboy trailer tires changed on it, but then I'll get back on the square body after I get this thing done. I got to be able to haul some stuff. I'm getting ready to completely clean this place off. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things disappear out of here. And the first ones are going to be that bulldozer up there, that track loader. I've tried to sell that thing to, it's an Alice Chalmers HD6. I've tried to sell that to folks on the Alice Chalmers page. I've tried to sell parts off of it. I can't believe it's not selling. It ain't like I'm getting a crazy price out of it. One guy did ask to buy the radiator the other day. I told him sure, no problem. So I'm gonna put some tires on the lowboy trailer, put the lowboy behind the dump truck. I'm gonna winch that thing up on that trailer, and it's going to scrap. I've thought about saving the tracks off of it because they really are good tracks, and the sprockets. Thought about taking a plasma cutter to the bracket back there in the back that covers the sprocket, keeps you from pulling the sprocket off. Basically the track cradle. Taking plasma cutter to it, and then be able to pull that set of tracks and the sprocket off of it and try to sell those separate. I know somebody asked me about the cage a while back, so I may take it off as well. But anyway, that's getting loaded on the lowboy, and it's going to the scrappers. I haven't checked scrap prices. I don't know what they are right now. I heard that they were a little bit low, so if they're a little low, I may just start piling stuff into their individual piles and then move it. So, but yeah, I'll take that old crane right there and load that sucker up. It's not easy, but I can move it with it. Tracks are locked up on it. Anyway, there's my update. I will probably do some more updating on it once I get a little further along. Start getting it set up. So anyway, I'll get to work. Y'all have a good day.